Serious casino dealers of Reddit, what's the most money you've seen someone lose? And how was the aftermath? Dealer. Not in Vegas, but still considered a large casino. The most heartbreaking losses always come from naive college kids or the regular single parents, but the largest loss I've ever seen was pretty entertaining. There's a regular at our casino that owns his own company, but also used to scam other casinos by having an inside man at his bank confirm credit over the phone that the player did not have. He's since been busted for this and will definitely be sent to jail once the case is closed. He still has a ton of cash and plays at our casino, being the only one in the area that allows him inside. A few weeks after he was caught, he came to our casino with 4 briefcases of $250,000 each and said, "I'm not leaving until the sign outside says insert player's name casino." Super upbeat and happy guy. Really nice to the dealers, probably so he wouldn't get kicked out. After 5 hours, my shift was over and he was down $720,000. The smile on his face looked like he found the money in between his couch cushions. I'm going to hazard a guess that he knew he would lose everything once the fraud case went through, so he decided to at least have fun losing it. It was probably money that wasn't yet found by the police, or an expected upcoming bitter divorce, or crippling gambling addiction, but that's less fun to joke about. First off, a little background. Casinos in Asia are rumored to rent out tables, which means someone can pay the casino for the right to take a percentage of winnings from that table over a period of time. Basically, it's money laundering. During my many trips to Macau and the Philippines, I've watched people gamble away millions every hour over days, and the only reason I can attribute their behavior is to this type of money laundering. In the 2000s, this was very common to see in Macau. Acrylic covered gold plaques worth Hong Kong dollars 100,000 thrown across the table like 2 chips over a game of baccarat many times over. The first time I saw it happen, I counted the amount rebought at 10 million, which he lost in minutes, right after he had just lost a stick in similar size. When I went back a few days later, he was still there doing the exact same thing. The amount he lost/laundered easily broke into hundreds of millions, if not more. Because that's exactly what's happening. Ex-croupier here. Worked in a large casino not in America. We had a lot of Asian clientele in our VIP room. Once had a guy betting $600K per hand on baccarat. He ended up a few mil and was sharing it around the group of women/escorts around him. Most I've seen lost his 10 mil in 3 weeks. He has the room booked for the month, so he made his bagman fly back to Thailand and get more money. Nothing was transferred. It was all cash. Finally, a question I can answer. I work in a well-known casino in Las Vegas. It happens multiple times per week that we get high rollers in who win or lose over 1 million. The most I ever saw a person lose was about 9 million in one night. But while that may seem like an obscene amount of money to you or I, that's what he budgeted himself to gamble that trip. He came knowing he may lose 9 million. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't happy, but he didn't lose his mind or freak out or anything like that. I'm on a $15K a year income, and it absolutely blows my mind even trying to just imagine having that much money as disposable income. Think of it this way. Gambling is fun to some people because of the rush you get when you know you are risking a meaningful amount of money at the table. For you and me, it might be a 20 hand or a 500 night. That'd be big speed for us. For this guy, he must bet more than us to achieve the same entertainment. This is something I had to explain to my brother. If it's not a risk, the thrill isn't there. Even if you started playing 5 blackjack at the start of the night, if you are up to 600, that 5 bet doesn't really matter much anymore. So the bet scales to your income and how the night is going. At least in my experience. 60K on blackjack. Guy didn't even blink. On to the next hand. If I bet more than 10 on blackjack, my heart starts racing. If I win that hand, the wife tells me it's time to cash out. Lol. Edit. Go figure. Biggest post ever is about blackjack. Jeez. One time I sat at a 25 table for an hour or so. My adrenaline was insane. I'm not even joking, that sounds intense. The one time I went I had to make 100 last 4 hours. At a table like that I'd be sweating bullets knowing I only had cash for 4 hands. The insanity. I manned the roulette wheel for about 6 months back in my college days. And the most amount of money I ever saw someone lose was 500. He put 100 on 22 different numbers. Red, even, and second half. I'll never forget his face with 0 showed up. The most amount of money I ever saw someone win was around 12,000 or so, give or take. It was around Christmas time, and a group from a business Christmas party came in. The boss gave everyone 100, and she came over, put 100 on 13, just wanting to get rid of it and get home. 13, 3, 500 instant win. She takes 400 back, and puts 100 on 25. 25. Another 400 net gain. I forget the third number, but she did it again. She then put 500 on one of the colors, forget which, and about the same on the thirds, forget which. She won the thirds, lost the color, and had me call security over to escort her to cash in her sips. This took her no time at all. She was very excited, talking about how much this money would help her. This story actually made me happy. Time to gamble away my savings. Best of luck. Just remember, if there's a 59-time multiplier on a bet, the odds are 1 in 60. The house always wins. So what you're saying is to turn my house into a casino business. The problem with that is you start to gamble on a much bigger scale, with lawyers and jail time. I dealt blackjack for a few months at a Nawa casino. A guy was staying at our hotel for a week on business and would play at my table at night because we had some good conversations and he had a few really good runs me. On his last hand one night he put down 500. Hit 2 8s against me showing a 6. He split them. On the first one he got a 3 and doubled down. Drew a 4 or 5. Second he got a 2 and doubled down on it as well, and got another mediocre hand. I forgot what I had exactly, but I ended up drawing like 5 cards, and not busting and taking 2,000 from him. He laughed and tipped me a couple of black chips 200. I would have felt bad if I thought he couldn't afford it. We definitely had some people like that, but I got the impression he was doing just fine. If I recall, don't most casinos work on tip share? Like all your tips go into a pot and is split up. How good did you usually get tipped out? I always imagine it's pretty good with tips like that, but with a split, does it bring it way down? Yeah, we all split. It bumped my wage from around 10 to 17 to 20 per hour. We tipped out at the end of each week. I helped it once, and it was pretty cool. At like 4 AM on Sunday, me and another dealer took duffel bags and went to all of the tables and emptied the tips into them. There was a very specific path we had to take around the floor to make sure we stayed in camera view the entire time. We emptied them out onto a craps table and sorted and counted them. A pit boss watching. Ex-croupier from Sydney. Dude turned over about 20 mil in 20 minutes. He was just there because it was uni enrollment time for his son, so decided to shout them a fun time in the inner sanctums. Another dude lost maybe 700k and didn't care. His bagman showed me photos of the private jet they travel in, which had a full-sized queen bed in it. Pretty awesome. Since I'm white, I didn't really get to deal much in the inners. But if the players lose, they just kick you out and ask for a luckier dealer. Usually an Asian female. What's up with Asian females? Luckier some say. Easier on the eyes according to others. I really don't understand the working of a big time gambler's mind. But when you have that much money to piss away, the world is very different. In the US, Asian female dealers are considered bad luck. You're making comments about drivers and accents need Jesus or the local do unto others equivalent in yo lives. Damn. From my experience, This is what I've seen / heard people say about dealers, making very sweeping generalizations here. White lady, lucky at blackjack, 3-card poker, and roulette. Young white guy, lucky at poker, maybe at craps, unlucky at roulette. Older white guy, lucky at craps, maybe roulette, unlucky at blackjack. Black lady, lucky at roulette and poker. Black guy, lucky at blackjack. Young Asian lady, unlucky all around, except maybe 3-card poker. Older Asian lady, unlucky all around, except maybe roulette. Young Asian guy, lucky at poker and craps. Older Asian guy, lucky at mini baccarat and blackjack. Source: I gamble and talk with others about gambling a lot. Disclaimer: I don't care what you look like or what your ethnicity is, just as long as you deal your game correctly and pay out the right amounts when I win. Also, I always tip when I win. Always. You should, too. Setting aside the entire notion of luck, how can a dealer be lucky at poker? They're dealing to the entire table? A lot of poker players think certain dealers are lucky / unlucky for them. They think that Marty will pair the board for them when they need it, but Kim will deal them crap hole cards. With an automatic shuffler in the table, I think the impact a dealer has on the cards is minimal. My time to shine. Ex-croupier here. Quit after this incident. I lost 3 mil in an hour. 1.5. 2 mil back from the same client. All in the span of 6 hours. He hanged himself in the suite that night. Edit. House lost 3 mil to the client in 1 hour. Should have walked when he could, but he played for the next 6 hours and slowly lost all his gains too. 2 mil to the casino. Word has it that he was on the verge of bankruptcy and this was his final resort. How hard is it to watch people gamble and lose loads of money? I guess you either become numb or quit, right? How long did it take for you to quit? Dealer as well. After a while it all feels like monopoly money. This is part of the reason why, being a dealer, you are 8x more likely to be a gambling addict. Do you think that dealers are more likely to become gambling addicts? Or that people who are likely to become gambling addicts are more likely to become dealers? Hey, I finally get a question that's directly relevant to me, and all the other answers are of way more money than I handled, since the casino I worked at wasn't a large tribal one, nor was it even standard size. Really, it was a half casino half bowling alley. Anyway, I've dealt all the table games there plus poker over the years. Generally, people who bet big and lose / win big are actually the calmer ones. They're very aware of the amounts they're betting, and they're probably with enough income / trust money / wealth that it doesn't matter. The really big reactions come from those who are broke and who are betting anyway, digging deep into debt with credit cards or borrowed cash, etc. etc. And it really doesn't happen all at once. Those people are the ones who bet 10 here, 5 here, 3 there, etc. etc. Doesn't sound like much. But an hour later they pull out another 200. And another, and then by the time 4 AM in the morning rolls around, they've put enough 3 bets down to lose their house. The biggest reaction I ever saw was this exact scenario. A guy was betting small all night, and I mean from around 5:30 PM to 4 AM. He was straight through the whole evening, midnight, and early morning with small bets. But those small bets ended up being way over 10,000 that he could not afford to lose. When the pit boss made the announcement at 4 o'clock that we were about to close in an hour, the player goes for like 5 more hands. And then as soon as the dealer scoops up the 3 bet, the guy screams, flips the table backward into the dealer, and begins chucking stools everywhere. It didn't last long. Our security guard was a 400-pound Samoan with a short fuse. When you watch the security footage, it's the funniest thing you ever saw. You see this guy flailing around, chucking stools and chips everywhere. Then suddenly appears a large black monster-y figure, who just appears to absorb the smaller man, and continues right on moving off screen. And suddenly all is calm. Funny video, but not a funny situation in general. Gambling is a very bad addiction, if you can't control it. Your experience mirrors mine in some ways. I don't know if you know much about the UK gambling scene, but we've got legalized gambling and betting shops. It's much more ingrained in our culture than the US, I believe, but also on a much smaller scale because of its ubiquity. I spent 4 years working in the industry, including 2 in my city's top performing shop. Even then, our turnover was only 3.5 million a year, and we had a mix of high rollers dropping 100 to 1000 a horse/dog race and low stakes players 0.50 and up. It was always the latter who were worse off when the government were talking about limiting the maximum stake on machines, currently 100. I was trying to explain to people that the majority of the time the people staking 100 a spin on roulette don't have the issues. As you say, it's the pound punt gang playing over and over and over with money they don't have.